What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Bitcoin today. It is the 14th day of August, and here we are just below 63K and moving lower. We've got 2 days, 10 hours left in this week. It's more like 9 hours. Yeah, 9 hours left in this day. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here, and let's get into it. Okay, here we are. Moving down as expected, right? We've been bearish. I've been bearish at least since this high point here. We've been bearish, even at this high point, we weren't thrown off. I'm bearish right now. I'm in this assumption that we are about to see the finale of the bear market, right? And we've been calling for that, really been calling for that since March, that we would have the end of the bear market in August. But more specifically, last month in July, we really started hammering that point home. And if it's not this month, August, that we see. Some people might be thinking, they might be hearing this the first time. They're like, August, dude, it's the 14th. We've got like 16 days, 17 days left in this month. What do you mean? What do you mean August? Yeah, like I think it's going to happen now. Like this next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, it's going to be bad. I think we are about to see the finale phase happen, and it's kicking off right before our eyes. And I've been saying that for about a month now. I think we are in this, and who cares what I think, right? I think this, I think that, whatever. Maybe I'm right, maybe I'm wrong. It doesn't matter. If it's not August, if it's not by the end of this month that we see some type of shift happen like this, then it will be going into September. I theorize that the low will be in August, but if it's not, I still think we kick off this move and maybe the lows in September, whatever the case may be. I really do believe where we are here in the price action is the exact same as where we were here, I would confer this with this with this. I think that this is what we're going to see next. This phenomenal shift, this drop down. Now, will it be bigger? Will it be shorter? I don't know. Nobody knows, right? Is it going to be a smaller move, a larger move? Nobody knows. We went over multiple cases yesterday where it would make sense for the move to be larger than any move that we've seen in this bear market and smaller than any move we've seen in this bear market. And any measurements that we came up with, any suitable predictions, they all seem to be around 50K or lower. It seems as though Bitcoin is primed, it's postured, it's ready to go below 50K. I've been telling my friends, like people I know in the real world, all year, since February. I've been telling my friends in the real world, actually the end of January, that if they want to invest in crypto, the best thing to do is to stack cash. Stack cash. Do not put money into anything and wait until August. From August and onward, once that drop comes in, and I said that drop, whenever people are like, what do you mean that drop? I mean a big drop. Once you just see it, everyone is freaking out. The news is panicking. And whenever it seems it's most bleak, we get the negative news. Satoshi's wallet was hacked. Donald Trump sold all his Bitcoin. There is no crypto treasury reserve at all. It was a big lie, and the U.S. has slowly been distributing its crypto. Whatever the news may be, it's going to be something different than any of those, right? But something that would catch the eye, catch the attention of the person listening to that news and make them think that crypto's dead. Whatever that is, whenever it's bleak and we've seen a big drop in August or later, I've been telling all my friends and family, that's the time to buy. That's the time to buy. Just because I've been telling my friends and family this, just because it makes sense to me, doesn't mean that it has to happen the way that I'm forecasting it. But I have since February, since March on paper, but really since February, been forecasting that we would see the bottom of the bear market in August. I don't care if I'm a month or two off. It could be September, it could be October. It's possible. But again, I think where we are here is very similar to where we were here. Thus, I think this drop, this very fast moving drop, this shift to the downside, it's going to happen by the end of this month. We only have 2 weeks and a half left in this month. I think that's more than enough time to get the job done, right? And whenever I say the bear market's over, that doesn't mean it's bull market time. We'll go over that in a second here, but 9 days. 9 days for that drop. That was a pretty significant shift from here, from the high to the low. That was 5 days. You can see some pretty crazy stuff, you guys, between now and the end of the month, and I think we will. We're not going to be caught off guard by this. Anybody who is, welcome to the fold, because you're going to figure out the hard way that the bear markets don't end with a whimper like this. They end with a bang and then a whimper, right? We get a little bit of a bang. Everybody here was so quick to call for the low. That's not how it is. You know how many people were expecting the low to be here? Not many. It was like less than 20% of market participants expected that to be the low. Even up here, it was less than half the people expected that to be the low. After we pumped, after we saw higher highs. How many people expected this to be the low? Less than 20%. And then even here, whenever we moved up, how many people expected that we'd reject this level and come back down? Over half the crypto population expected that this was a false rally and that we'd reject back down. And they all became bullish at the top. All I'm trying to say is we typically end with a bang and then a whimper, right? We haven't really had that bang. We've been whimpering now since February. We've just been moving sideways here in this range. We're going to get the bang. It's probably going to take us below 50K. And that will likely be the low. Whenever it seems the bleakest, whenever people aren't so quick to call for the bottom to be in, there's going to be people calling for the low on this next move, and they'll be right, and so will I, hopefully. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor. It's possible that I'm wrong in the sense that maybe this drop happens, but the low is not actually until 2027. Maybe it's in February, and we go through this really long, boring phase with a slightly lower low, something like that. I don't think that we're going to see an extremely lower low. I don't personally believe we get below 40K. It's possible. It's okay if it happens, but I don't see that happening myself. But anyways, man. Anyways, big shift down, boring time for a year. Big shift down, boring time for a quarter of a year. Big shift down here, boring time for over a month. Okay, a couple months almost. I would assume that after we have our shift, whenever it is, sometime between now and the end of August, if not sometime in September, we will probably move sideways going into the end of October and likely pump going into midterms. When we pump, we're probably not going to go to new all-time highs. It's not going to be any kind of crazy bull market stuff. It's just going to be that initial bounce that you see once you're done with your bear market, right? Right here, that initial bounce you see. That doesn't mean that we're kicking off the bull market. We had this initial bounce, went from 166 bucks all the way up to 300 bucks. Went all the way up there, and you still moved sideways for the better part of a year before actually kicking off the bull run. And then you were boring still, and then you moved up, and then you were boring still, and then the exciting part happened. You guys were a long ways away from the exciting part, okay? We're a long ways away. What do I mean by the exciting part? I mean multi-$100,000 price for Bitcoin, new all-time highs. We're a long ways away from there. But again, the main focus here is that we're very close in proximity, both in price and in time, to the bear market low. Whether it's this month, whether it's next month, whether it's the month after, I don't care. It could be February of 2027. We're still really, really close to it in the grand context of this overall bear market. If we do see the bear market low come in, like if the low is actually sometime next year, I would still stand by the idea that the bear market ends very soon. We're just in this kind of sideways crab market where we get a slightly lower low. It's like back here, you know, the bull market ended here, but the all-time high was over here. We weren't in a bull market all this time. This wasn't a bull market. This was just a crab market. We moved sideways for all that time, right? That could happen. I'm not forecasting that personally. I think that we're going to find our bottom here in August, September, or October, but probably August. That's my guess. And then consolidate and then pump going into midterms. People will wonder if we're going to come back down. They won't believe in this pump. That's how you know that it's real. And then we finally get a higher high. We can't break above 100K. That's going to be the thesis behind the bears that, oh, we can't get above 100K, so we're still in a bear market. Nope. We're not going to go down. We're actually just going to keep pushing through. And it'll be sometime late 2027, maybe even 2028, before we even see new all-time highs. Anyways, that's the whole theory. It's a lot to unpack. I've just got it so well rehearsed because this is all we've done for months now. It's just moved sideways. I've got nothing else but to talk about this bear market finale here, man. And I really do believe that we're in the midst of it now. We're about to see this sudden shift. So analyzing and utilizing the prior drops as a template, as a prediction metric, whatever you want to call it. You know, if we were to take this from that high there, that's our smallest drop so far. Our largest drop is here. I'm not even going to take this one because it was in between, right? We put it there, boom, boom. It's not uncommon to see the largest drop of the cycle happen at the end of the bear market. We also saw last cycle that the smallest drop of the cycle happened at the end of the bear market. So this would be the range that's appropriate for anything that we've seen from a minimum to a maximum and anything in between. but we could also account for potential price that is just outside these extremes. We could have some outliers that are either a little bit more dramatic or a little bit less dramatic than what we've seen this whole bear market. And if it's less dramatic, cool. We probably don't go too far below 50K, if at all below 50K, but around that area nonetheless. If we see something that's in between, an average, we see something that's in between the extremes of this cycle, which there's only 3 iterations, 3 drops to take from, so it's really not that much data, then something between 47 to 42K is a likely target. If we see something that's more extreme than anything we've seen this whole bear market so far, we likely will probably go below 40K. And are there areas of support around these lines? Are there areas to suggest that we could see something less extreme, exactly as extreme, more extreme? Yeah, we've got all of it. Support here, more extreme at 38K. Support here on a closing basis, 54K, less extreme. I don't know how big this drop is going to be. That's the whole question, right? That's the whole thing that's in question, but I know it's going to happen. All right, I shouldn't say I know. Nobody knows. I'm guessing. I'm predicting. Somebody said that once. They're like, you're just guessing, aren't you? It's like, yes, that's what a prediction is. I'm just guessing that sometime by the end of this month, if not going into September or October, we will see a shift that takes very little time to enact itself, very little time at all. And we will either be down around 50K, probably at least below 55K, if not at the most below 40K. I personally don't think that we go below 40K. I am in favor of going slightly below 50K or around 50K, finding support at this low area, finding support at this resistance point here. Or, again, we could go somewhere in the in-between, in the average, in this little range here. Either way, any way that you want to cut it. You know, the more that we kind of refine this or define this, it looks like something between 50 and 40K is where the bear market low is going to be. This undoubtedly is the most significant pivot that we had in the bear market, right? This wasn't as significant. It was still significant, just not as significant as this pivot. This one's significant, just not as significant as this pivot, right? We take the fib from this pivot, this very significant fib level, low to high, and the primary target, the 1272, is at 55K. The golden ratio is at the 1618. The secondary target zone is the 1886 to the 2618, and that takes us, again, just below 40K at the most extreme. But most of this is still above 40K. Most of this is below 55K, right? 40K, 55K, that's our overall range with a specific emphasis on this, I would say, 43K to 50K level. This range right here, right where we found support, right where we found resistance, right in between the average, the extreme zones of the drops that we've seen. What could provide an average drop overall this bear market? Again, it's not many iterations. We only have 3 drops, really, this whole bear market to go off of. And we could compare last cycle's drops, but I don't think that every bear market's different as far as size goes. I don't think that it's appropriate, right? We saw a bear market like we'd never seen last cycle. We've never seen the bear market finale be the smallest drop of the cycle. It's always been the largest drop. Does that mean that we've seen extreme here? Again, we've already accounted for that. Something below 40K is possible. Could it be the least extreme drop like we saw back here, right? We consolidated for a while. We only had a little bit of gas left in the tank for the bears. You know, maybe we see the smallest drop here, and again, in which case we probably see a bottom above 50K. But I'm repeating myself at this point. I'm driving myself mad. Does it make sense? I'm really trying to stick it in your heads so that you're not surprised and so that you're prepared for it. What's unfortunate is we've had months, we've had this whole year to prepare for it, really. And now we only have weeks, probably. Maybe at best we have months to prepare for it. But the best thing to do is to wait, is to be patient. And when it comes time to pull that trigger, when it comes time to buy, this is not financial advice, this is just my opinion. DCA. Whether you buy once a day, you buy multiple times throughout the day, just don't throw it all in all at once. Unless you, I mean, man, you get a wild hair right up your butt and you feel like you're watching this drop. It's like an hour or 2 hours and it just shifts down and it seems so extreme. Like you're feeling the capitulation, you're feeling the panic vibes out there, the panic selling vibes from the whole community. If you want to just throw in the whole bag, you want to back the whole truck up and buy around or below 50K, don't let me stop you. DCAing is the way to go. It's definitely a great strategy. But man, if we're below 50K, if I had no capital in crypto at all and all my cash was on the side and we were below 50K, I see nothing wrong with just fully dumping that load into Bitcoin, man. I mean, that is a generational buy if I've ever seen it, in my opinion. 50K, man. This thing is going to be worth hundreds of thousands next cycle. 50K. What a great opportunity. If it happens. If it happens. Again, 55K is a possibility. 50K, around 50K, below 40K is a possibility. We don't know. And that's why DCing is not a bad idea. Not only that, but once we hit the low, again, once we hit the low, wherever that is, I'm just going to put it around here. We're not going to do this. There's going to be time. There's going to be some time. It'll be volatile. It'll seem bullish and bearish at times, whatever. We might even get a slightly lower low after the drop happens, whatever the case may be. There will be about a month, if not multiple months, where we just kind of move sideways and we're stagnant, and then we get the relief rally. And then this is the rally that everybody doubts, right? We get a higher low, and then we rally up. People still have doubts, but then the bull market really comes to life because at that point we have higher highs in it, whatever the case may be. All right, people didn't doubt this rally. When we were up at 80K, nobody doubted this rally. They thought that this was the real deal. People were thinking that the bear market was over. We were in the bull market. I never did. Not once. We shifted our targets. We accepted that we could move a little bit higher, maybe 90K, probably not above 100K. But we shifted our targets a little bit higher. But it definitely still believed the whole time that we'd go below this low. Even here, people were excited, calling this a bounce, calling the bear market to be over. Look at how desperate you are, right? Whenever you get a move like this again, but it happens faster, and you get this higher high here, and people are doubting this, whenever the general thesis is that this is not a real bounce, that we're going to go lower. We have one more dip to go before the bear market's over, guys. Don't you know? Don't you know how this works? Whenever that's the general thesis, that's when you know, that's the compelling evidence that the bear market's over. It's going to happen. If you're paying attention to these words that I'm telling you, it's going to happen just like that. The only reason I'm saying this is because this is my fourth bear market that I've been in Bitcoin, right? This is the third, this was the second, this is the very first bear market I've been in. I've seen it happen 3 times before. We're about to watch it happen a 4th time. Maybe this is the one time that everybody is bearish at the lows and we still go lower. That's probably not going to happen. I highly doubt it. But all I'm trying to say, guys, is we're very, very near the end of the bear market. Time-wise, price-wise, we're very, very close to that. The best thing to do is just wait, to be patient, hold the line as far as cash goes, and then whenever it comes time, you'll know it, man. There will be panic. There will be some big kind of news piece that comes out at the low. It'll happen. It'll happen at the low. It'll generate selling pressure. So the institutions and the smart money, the people who have planning, proper planning, will be able to buy it up on the cheap, the cheapest that it will ever be again, before seeing new all-time highs in the years to come. I could do the TA. We can do it. Let's do it real quick. I feel like we've already gone over enough. Again, we've moved sideways for so long that it's just kind of the same stuff. The 1-hour RSI is taking a bearish shape, as is the stochastics and the MACD. Okay. 4-hour looks bearish, right? We're staying under the 50, getting oversold, not getting overbought. Bearish. Stochastics definitely look bearish. And the MACD, man, that's rough. That's rough whenever you have some like bullish divergence or like bearish momentum dying off like this, and then you start building bearish momentum again. That's rough, man. That's not a good environment to be in. We're building volume as we're coming down. Not good, guys. It doesn't look good. That's for damn sure. Daily time frame here. Again, you crossed above the 0. Where was your move? There was no move. You bounced off the 0. Where was your move? There was no move. You just moved sideways this whole time. You had bullish things going on, man. When the bears took over, whenever it was bearish things going on, when the oscillators crossed below the 0 here, right? This was the move that you got. This was it right here, right? When the bulls took over and you got some green and the oscillators crossed above the 0, this was it. This was the move, right? Bears took over. This was your move. Bulls took over. This was your move. You had a pretty straight shot down versus a little turd nugget here. That's it. The bears are in control. Make no mistake of it. Stochastics are just now getting into the oversold zone on the daily time frame. It's not good, typically. And then we're crossing through the 0. There's just a perfect bearish storm here, you guys. Mark my words. Mark my words. In the days and the weeks ahead, we are going to see Bitcoin shift very quickly. The bear market finale is here. We're in the midst of it now, and it will only become more apparent as the days and weeks transpire. We're going to pick up the pace, and the question here is not, are we going to move down fast? Because we're going to. We're likely, very likely going to. The question is, how far down do we go? My bet, my money is on the idea that we go somewhere very close to 50K. Just above, just below, somewhere very close to 50K. That's where I think that the bear market low is going to be, probably, knowing how people in psychology behaves, probably just below 50K. We'll probably go just below 50K. But we could. There's plenty of reasons and plenty of evidence in the charts to suggest 43K, 40K, even potentially below 40K is a possibility. Be prepared for anything. And when you feel that fear, when you feel that emotion, that's probably the signal, the internal clock winding up and telling you it's time to buy. I got nothing else. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Daily RSI sucks. Stochastics, MACD suck. Weekly time frame. The weekly RSI, I don't care. I don't care what people tell you. They're like, oh, we broke out of this. We broke out, and now we're finding support at the oversold zone. They're doing cheap gimmicks as far as TA goes, right? Oh, look, we broke out of it here, and then we bounced off the oversold zone. That was the beginning of the bull market. That's how it worked last time, right? So that means that's how it's going to work this time. Look, except we bounced off it, right? You compare notes, right? You bounced off it here, right? You bounced off it here. What happened when you bounced off it here? You made a nice move up. What happened whenever you bounced off it here? You didn't do anything, man. You didn't do anything. The stochastics by this time had been oversold for months, for a long time. You're not even oversold yet, right? It's just not. It's not comparable. It's not comparable at all. There was one more thing that I wanted to say. I can't remember what it was. Oh yeah. For all the RSI nerds out there, the RSI is one of the probably the most utilized indicators in the space, in technical analysis, in crypto and stocks, whatever. A lot of people know about it. They don't know how to use it, right? They look at these lines, they look at these levels just at the oversold and the overbought, and that's it. Maybe the 50, that's it. And don't get me wrong, those are significant levels. But the RSI trends just like the price does. And identifying these trends is very helpful. We are in a downtrend. We are not in an uptrend. We have not broken out of a downtrend. We are still in a downtrend. And as long as we're in a downtrend, even if we don't see lower lows, you can still see lower prices, right? Did we see lower lows here? No. But did we get lower lows in prices? Yes. Did we see higher highs here in the RSI? No, but we got higher highs in price. You don't need lower lows. You don't need higher highs for the price. That's not how it works, right? Maybe. Sometimes it does, but not always. Anyways, we're in a downtrend. Bearish on the RSI on the weekly. Bearish on the stochastics on the weekly. The MACD is bearish as well. We're killing that bullish momentum already. The reason why it's flip-flopping, the reason why this weekly MACD is not being helpful to the bears or the bulls is because we've moved sideways for months now. We've just been moving sideways. Indicators are less reliable, especially momentum indicators like the MACD are less reliable in a sideways environment. And yes, this whole thing counts as sideways. It really does. Anyways, I've got nothing else. Right? Think about it this way too, actually, just real quick before I end. Right? The reason why this is all sideways, right, is because there was only 5 weeks where you were up here. Yes, you were moving up. Sure, you were moving up. Yes, you were moving down. Yes, there's some volatility in there. But the predominant amount of your time, the large amount of your time you spent in this box, you're moving sideways. Just because you have a blemish up here does not mean you're not moving sideways. I'm deliberately going over this part here so that anybody who wants to do analysis for themselves, they can look at something and be like, oh, okay, this was sideways. It doesn't have to literally be a boring line like we've seen the last 5 weeks to be sideways. This is especially sideways. Absolutely it is. Don't get me wrong. That's especially boring. But you can look at a range like this and understand that, oh, this really was sideways. Well, we went from a low of 60K all the way up to 83K. How can you say it was sideways? Because of this whole time, it was only like 5 weeks. It was only like 5 weeks that we were above 70K. Little moments here and there in between. But other than that, we've been below 70K, above 60K, in that 10K range since February. Very boring. This shift that happens, it's probably going to be big. I doubt it's going to be the smallest drop we've seen this cycle. I'm also having a hard time believing that it's going to be bigger. But we'll see. If it's bigger than the smallest drop we've seen, we will go below 50K. We will. And that's where my head's at. I'm done. I keep talking. I'm done. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all. Take care of yourselves. And I'll see you on the next one. Bullish divergence on the 2-week MACD and 2-week RSI. the long-term macro stuff is shifting less bearish. That's my daughter. She just woke up. She's 4. She's sleeping on the couch. She just woke up. I'm going to go. Hit that like button, subscribe. Thank you all. Take care. Bye-bye.